We steal the waves in the air, and we never give them back. We are.
We are.
We are.
We are. We are.
We are.
Lofi Poli Sci. Yes, we are. Lofi Poli Sci podcast coming at you with that lo-fi global news. Talking about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? Straight to it. Let's head on over to East Africa and the country of Ethiopia to see what's going down there. The short answer? A hell of a lot. So we've been talking about the Tigrayan crisis going on, but let's be real. This armed conflict, this back and forth between government forces and the Tigrayan militias, this is a civil war now. Tigray launched their own elections, and the Ethiopian government went in and took over the region. Then the Tigrayan leaders and their militia retook the region and currently hold power. And the Ethiopian government has been recruiting heavily for their military. And now, the government is even asking citizens, to take part in reclaiming Tigray. Yo, let's not even play here. This is a serious shout out to everyone saying all low-key, lo-fi, and loud-like that the government in Ethiopia, well, they're in trouble. And let's not forget that there is still a major dispute going on between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt about the dam that Ethiopia built on the Nile River, that both Egypt and Sudan are completely against because it'll potentially restrict the water flowing from the Nile into their countries, which is necessary for, I don't know, everything in the countries as far as agriculture and irrigation. And those talks about the dam went nowhere. And Egypt is on the edge and has warned Ethiopia that something big could happen if their water rights aren't guaranteed. And now with the civil war going on in Ethiopia, the timing is just perfect for Egypt to apply even more pressure to the Ethiopian government for concessions. Keep your eyes and ears open on this one, people. This situation's moving fast. Now let's head a little northwest to the northern African country of Tunisia to get the scoop on the latest presidential coup there. Or is it a coup? Let's find out. So the short version of everything going on in Tunisia will start back in December of 2010 with a little something called the Arab Spring. You see, in 2010, Tunisia was an authoritarian country, a dictatorship, ruled by the same guy for about 30 years. But then a massive people's power movement, where millions of Tunisians took to the street. Well, they ousted their dictator with peaceful protest. It was a beautiful thing for the people, for democracy in Tunisia. And this movement, this people's power protest against authoritarian government, well, it spread all over northern Africa and the Middle East. And this was called the Arab Spring. And 2011 marked a year of some of the largest protests we've ever seen globally, and a strong move and desire for self-determination in at least 30 different countries. But sadly, Tunisia, the country that started it all, was the only country to become and survive as a democracy. All the other protests were severely put down, or any cases that did become democracies, they were undone. Out of about 30 countries, Tunisia stood alone as a beacon of hope. Fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, the end of July, 10 years after Tunisia started it all. Their democracy's being undone. You know, the shining star of the Arab Spring is twinkling a little less bright today, as the president of the country has seized power from the legislature. But there's still a lot of question marks here, and it's far too early to call this one as done and done. Oh no, lo-fi listeners. We got to keep our eyes wide open on this one. Because the story of the Arab Spring, if there's something we've ever learned about the Arab Spring, it's still not over. And we'll keep you updated as we hear more, or holler at us if you hear something first. All right, people, and now it is time for a brand new segment to Lo-Fi Global News. The game. Oh, yeah, that's right. We got a bit of fun for you to play along with us at home. So this game is called Are We Landlocked or Not? So for our first edition, we're heading down to Latin America. And how this works is I'll name a country, and you get 5 seconds to decide if that country is, in fact, a landlocked country or not. And definitely keep score at home to see just how much lo-fi loot you can get to compete against all your friends and potentially to redeem for prizes at the end of Season 4. Now to the game. Bolivia. Is it landlocked or not? And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bolivia is in fact a landlocked country. That's right. 1 lo-fi loot doubloon if you got it right. And our next one. Uruguay. Is it? Oh, wait, is this a lo-fi daily double? Oh, indeed it is. That's right. Get this one and the next one correct for double the lo-fi loot. Uruguay and Paraguay. Which is landlocked and which is not? And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And if you said Paraguay is landlocked and Uruguay is not, you get double the doubloons. Oh, yeah. Next one up, Trinidad and Tobago. Is it landlocked or not? And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the answer is Trinidad and Tobago are waterlocked, aka an island country. So no, not landlocked at all. And our last one for the day, Ecuador. Is it landlocked or not? And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Survey says, no, it is not. Ecuador borders the Pacific Ocean. And that's Wednesday's game of Are We Landlocked or Not? Remember, keep track of that lo-fi loot from week to week for bragging rights with your friends. Now let's head west on over to North and South Korea to see what's been happening lately on this lovely peninsula. So, latest word is that South Korea and the U.S. are getting ready for some joint military exercises. Nothing new there, this has been going on for years. But this also means that North Korea is starting to bitch about it. Nothing new there, this has also been going on for years. However, North Korea is reporting that they're suffering from food shortages and potentially looking at famine, and they need some help. Couple these two things together, along with South Korea's desire over the past few months to rekindle a dialogue with the North. We could very, very soon see some missile testings and some firings from North Korea. Some examples of power and tough words to try to get sanctions relief and international aid and simply some recognition of existence at the moment. Because let's be real, people. Lately, North Korea ain't been getting any love from any country around the world. Everyone's really busy with their own things at the moment. And no country seem to be that concerned with North Korea nuclear talks at this particular moment. So we'll be paying attention to the peninsula closely for these next few weeks because it's quite likely we could see some developments soon. And now, a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day. A Lofi Poli Sci exclusive. Did you know Antarctica was named for not having bears? All right, my friends, there's quite a few things here, revelations really, that I've had. If any of you have been listening for a while, you know of my affinity for all things Antarctica, and in particular for penguins. Yes, I love me some penguins. Well, wouldn't you know that Antarctica is named anti-bears, aka no bears, aka opposite of the North? You see, the Arctic is Latin and named for some bear constellations up there in space. And if you ask me, which you're not, but I'm going to say anyway, but I think polar bears being there probably had something to do with it as well, because let's face it, people hundreds of years ago, they weren't that creative with names. So the Arctic was named for bears, and people couldn't decide what to call Antarctica. So common language, they called it Anti-Arctica, meaning opposite of the North, or anti-bear, or no bears. And you see, they couldn't call it the Great Southern Continent because apparently the Latin version of something similar to that was already taken. Wait for it, what is it? Australia! That's right. People named Australia Australia before they knew about Antarctica, so the name was taken. So what did they do? They just called Antarctica Anti-Arctica, and there you have it. This is such a wasted opportunity. They could have named it something cool like Pinguis Maximus or something like that. But no. Instead we got no bears. And now you know. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Issue 10 of Letters of the Lofi Poli Sci came out Saturday. Get at me to be added to the emailing list. Our theme Does anyone really read? And do you have top 10 list ideas out there? Send them on in. Do you have good news to share? Share it with us. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Peace and well-being to all my human beings out there. Much love and always the best. Pickering, signing off.